What's up, A to Z Sports Live on a Wednesday. Glad to have everybody along. Austin Stanley and Sam Phelan here on A to Z Sports, reacting to the Titans' first OTA practice that was open to the media on Tuesday. Sam and I were both in attendance. Buck was also in attendance. A lot of Titans media there. I had to go park in the side lot there, Sam. The Titans media filled up the main lot as I got there a little later. But a lot of coverage these days around the Titans facility, because I feel like there's a lot to talk about and a lot of intrigue with what this franchise has going. So going to have a good conversation today, Sam, about a certain trait that all three Titans quarterbacks have in common. And this is the first time that we've seen all three of these Titans quarterbacks on the same practice field, wearing a Titans uniform, going through the same drills. So we're going to be able to play a video of these three guys, 1, 2, 3 in a row, and kind of take our first look at them and see what this trait is and what the coaches and players are saying about the three quarterbacks as we try to figure out how the Titans will maneuver through their quarterback situation. Sam and I also got to look at the entire team, minus a few key players, and maybe, Sam, will have you update us on the laundry list after we officially start of the guys that were not in on the field at St. Thomas Sports Park yesterday. But first looks and which players intrigue us the most, which players intrigue you guys, the fans, the most, and also throwing shade on a Wednesday. Shade I could have used yesterday at St. Thomas Sports Park, but we'll get to throwing shade later on in the show. Sam, welcome in. Let's get this thing rolling.
Hey, let's do it. It was great to be out there again. Great to take in a practice with like the full team. Rookie minicamp's cool and all, but nothing quite beats having the full roster out there. And I kind of made a joke, to a couple of the fellow media members as we're walking the sidelines. Like, the only problem with what the Titans did this offseason is they gave us too much to look at. I feel like I'm bouncing everywhere, trying to keep my eyes, have eyes in the back of my head. But great to get out there, great to talk about it here on a great Wednesday morning. And before we do that, make sure you guys watching share the show. If you're watching on Facebook, go ahead and hit that share button in the bottom right corner. If you're watching on YouTube, take the link and send it to a friend, a group chat, a Titans fan, or a football fan in your life. Make sure that you share that link and share the love, because sharing is caring. That's the best way to support and grow the A to Z Sports family. Got to do that for us before we kick it off on a Wednesday.
Absolutely. Let's get this thing rocking and rolling officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered by the BetMGM app. As always, I'm Austin Stanley. He is Sam Phelan, our Titans reporter for A to Z Sports.com. We are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, going live every weekday morning at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the shows segment by segment on our Twitter timeline, and hit us up on Instagram and TikTok for more Titans coverage there as well. We got to thank our sponsors, because they truly make it happen for us, and they help out all of you, like Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans, better coverage, rates, and service. Learn more about a health plan for you at fbhp.com/ATOZ. The Aura app, keeping you safe online. Take advantage of our link, aura.com/ATOZ, and get a 2-week free trial on getting rid of data brokers from your life. And Krebs Kubota, they are an elite Kubota dealer in the Middle Tennessee area, with 3 locations across that mid-state, serving you in Columbia, Franklin, and in Murfreesboro. Online, KrebsKubota.com. So, Sam, I think you put it out right in the cold open. The Titans have given us, frankly, way too much to look at OTAs, and it'll continue to be like that as we get back on the OTA practice field next week for another open period. But a lot to get into. We had a long pre-show conversation on what do we talk about today. We know what we're talking about tomorrow. I have a feeling I have something in mind for Friday. So they've given us plenty. But real quick before we dive into that, and I'll let you update on who wasn't there. I did see Bork say, dang, Zach could only handle 1 day back. No, Zach, the initial plan was for Zach to be on the show today, like normal. But NES, Nashville Electric, sent him an email yesterday saying power outages will happen in your area at 8 a.m. on Wednesday morning. And so we couldn't have Zach losing power at 8 a.m. right when the show starts. So that is why Zach is not here today. So he'll be back tomorrow as long as NES does what they need to do. So with all that, Sam, we were at the practice field, so that makes it okay. Zach wasn't there, so we'll talk about more things with him tomorrow. So, Sam, update us on the long list of players not on the practice field at St. Thomas Sports Park on Tuesday.
Well, I think, it starts with the big name, which is Kevin Byard not being out there. And some of these guys like Danico Autry was not at Titans OTAs yesterday either. A big reason, but like that's not a big surprise. Like a veteran like that, well established, kind of does his own off-season workout thing, and it's not typical to see a guy like Danico that was, being out there. But Kevin Byard is the first name that kind of caught everybody's eye because he really has never missed OTAs as long as he's been a Tennessee Titan. Another big one to me is Christian Fulton, who we heard from Mike Vrabel at the end of the season that, he kind of called him out and said Christian Fulton has to figure out how to train. He has to, build the callus. And we know the Titans have been very serious about their offseason workout regimen here and kind of what they've been trying to do. And Fulton making the choice to not be at OTAs. So kind of what does that mean for his status with the coaching staff, his future with the team? Pulling it up really quick with the full list of Titans guys that were not there. It's Kevin Byard, Christian Fulton, Danico Autry, Monty Rice, no Dylan Radins, which is not a huge surprise given the ACL. Caleb Farley with an injury, same situation. Harold Landry, Trevon Wesco, and Sam O rounds out the list of nine Titans. Sam Okweananu, I believe is how it's said.
I just wanted to make you do it.
Yeah,
I don't know how to say it. I just wanted to see you do it. But so some notables there, and maybe we could talk about Kevin Byard and not being there. I know, Sam, you hit up that topic off your Titans OTA reaction video yesterday. By the way, shout out Holiday World and Nashville Super Speedway for having those happen. But yeah, so I think, not a big deal for me that Kevin Byard's not there. It's a situation to monitor, I think, for some of those guys. But then, as you mentioned, the injuries, I think some understandable reasons on why, Caleb Farley, Harold Landry, Dylan Radins, guys who were dealing with surgeries in the last season or so are not there because of whatever rehab plan they're in. And again, voluntary is the key word here. And so there's always guys, there's never 100% participation in voluntary OTAs, but there are some pretty big names on that list.
Yeah. The two really are Kevin Byard and Christian Fulton that I think people should pay the most attention to, or at least kind of have their ears perk up a little bit when you look at that. Like Byard, because we know what happened in the offseason with the asking him to take a pay cut and kind of get the feeling that the relationship between Kevin and the team isn't as good as it once was right now. And I think his future with the team is still sort of up in the air as this, plays itself out throughout the rest of the summer. Mike Vrabel didn't seem all that concerned by it. He said he talked to Kevin at the golf course on Sunday and that, felt like he had a good conversation with him and the communication has been open. So it's not like an alarm button by any means, more of just something to monitor on both that front and the Christian Fulton front as the Titans approach minicamp. I'd expect to see both of those guys for minicamp. That's not something that you miss.
Well, if you do miss minicamp, then you will have
an issue
coming your way anyway, because that is mandatory coming up in a couple weeks in the beginning of June. So, all right, Sam, as we had a ton of things to watch at OTAs, we'll talk about wide receivers probably tomorrow. We'll talk about some first looks from some players that intrigue us, more under the radar players later on in today's show with our second topic. But the first time we saw all three quarterbacks on the field together, and I think there's a common trait that these three guys have after watching them, after hearing coaches and players talk about them. And no, I saw a comment saying that they're all right-handed. No, that's not it. I did see a comment, some sarcasm saying that they all choke in big moments. No, that's not it either. But I do think it's interesting because I caught up with Kyle Phillips, second-year Titans wide receiver, who I'm sure we'll have conversations about later on this offseason as he is back on the practice field. But I asked him, starting off after he was talking about himself, his diet, his workout regimen, staying healthy, and his hunger to get back, that are all other conversations. But I asked him what his first impression of Will Levis was, and then we kind of, he wasn't exactly super open with talking about this conversation, and to go along with some things that Mike Vrabel and Chigakonkwo also said. So here was Kyle Phillips on his quarterbacks.
Oh, this is huge, just going to work every day, growing closer and closer, and, it's times like this where, really get to know someone, know that you can count on them on the field. You don't have to second guess it. They're going to do their job, and they're going to do it to their best ability.
What's your first impression of Will Levis?
Great football player, real smart guy. I like him a lot.
How does he operate the quarterback position? It seems like it's been something he's done for a long, long time.
Yeah, I feel like the whole room operates, the same way. They take it very serious. It is their job, and they handle it well. They all lead the offense, and they all do a great job at it.
Phillips, look, I feel like, and I tweeted this out from A to Z yesterday, that Will Levis continues to look the part. He handles quarterback logistics very well at practice, and quarterback logistics is an important part of playing the position at the NFL level. Is it everything? Absolutely not, because you have to score points, not turn the ball over, make good decisions, and lead your team. But going through practices, it is clear that Will Levis has done the quarterback position for a long time, as has Ryan Tannehill. And you can tell with those two guys that, they know what they're doing. And Malik Willis had a learning curve in quarterback logistics coming out of Liberty, where maybe Will Levis got a degree in quarterback logistics at Kentucky and Penn State. Malik Willis did not get that degree at Liberty and where he was before at Auburn. Both guys transferring. That's an interesting combo there too. But Sam, what are your quick thoughts about the comments there from Kyle Phillips and what you saw from Levis yesterday overall?
Well, I think it matches up with what we've heard from the players and coaches alike about what Tim Kelly wants to do on offense. Like they talk about this up-tempo offense, kind of really being smooth in the operations, and how important it's going to be for them to simplify their pre-snap process, get to the line of scrimmage, get their call in. And a lot of that's on the quarterback. It's on your signal caller to make sure that things are running smoothly and that you're operating cleanly. Now, that's something that, as you mentioned, Will Levis, as an experienced quarterback, he's done the QB thing for a very, very long time at a very high level and ran a pro-style offense at Kentucky. These are things that he is used to. These are not things that Malik has done traditionally, but I think the Titans were very clear with Malik heading into the offseason that this was something they wanted him to work on, kind of with this goal and objective for their offense in mind. And the Malik Willis that you and I saw yesterday, it's hard to judge his physical sort of development. I do think there were some physical developments that we'll talk about a little bit later in the show, but a lot of that you can't really see until you're at speed. But I think there's no question we saw a guy who looked way more comfortable under center. And based on what you've heard from both the players and coaches, Malik is now operating as he's smooth with the operations. He's confident in the huddle, and all three QBs seem to have that trait and that sense about them, which will be huge given the fact that we think the Titans are going to run a lot of stuff up tempo and have to get into their calls quickly.
Yeah. So let's get to Mike Vrabel's comments, Sam, about what they asked Malik Willis to do. Also, Chigakonkwo had some comments on this. Then we'll get a video of all three quarterbacks working in practice together. But Sam, we signed up for the OTA app about a month ago at this point. And I don't know about you, but no robocallers and a lot of less junk emails for me, but tell the people about how they can have the same.
Well, listen, we did do that. It took me just a few minutes. I got the OTA app. I punched in a little bit of information. I signed up and, they said, we'll take it from here. Aura has all the tools necessary to keep you safe online. They do so by identifying which data brokers have access to your information. It's kind of scary how much of your info, like your full name, your family members, all of these different things can be leaked online. And data brokers take your information, sell them to the telemarketers and the robocallers, etc. That's why you're getting all the no caller IDs and robots on the other ends and, sales calls on your phone blowing you up nonstop. It's probably because a lot of your information is out there. So let Aura do the hard work and keep you safe. Sign up with their site and get protected online, get access to their VPN, to their password and network managing service, to their online parental controls. Protect your devices from malware. This is all that Aura offers. And like I said, just a few clicks and a couple minutes online. Right now, you can get a free trial using our code. It's aura.com/ATOZ. Aura.com/ATOZ. I cannot recommend it enough. And you won't regret doing it because I haven't gotten bothered nearly as much, really at all, since I signed up for Aura. Bork says, yeah, he's getting tired of all the spam emails. Your email is probably everywhere. Your data brokers are selling it for a premium right now, Bork. They're like, this guy likes his spam emails and his sales emails. You need Aura more than anything. So aura.com/ATOZ for your free trial today.
Real quick, BetMGM. If you're already with BetMGM, log onto your app. You'll get a free bet today, just for no reason. A bonus bet popped in my account this morning, a $25 bonus bet. So I can use that because every Wednesday and Saturday, now until June 7th, you get a free bonus bet just by logging onto the app with BetMGM. So take advantage of that up until June 7th, Wednesdays and Saturdays with BetMGM. All right, Sam. So let's hear from Mike Vrabel and Chigakonkwo on what Malik Willis needed to work on this offseason from Vrabel, and then Chig, the second-year tight end, on what he has seen from the second-year quarterback in Malik Willis.
Where have you seen improvement from Malik so far in the offseason program, and what all does he need to show you to earn a bigger role?
Well, we're only going to play one quarterback. Yep. So a bigger role. It is going to be they're all trying to earn a starting position on every spot, trying to earn a role. But what we'd ask Malik to do is come back with a presence to him, making sure that when you're the quarterback in 32 NFL franchises, there's a certain demeanor or the way you have to carry yourself and a presence and a leadership, and there's a lot that goes into that other than just delivering the football. You have to be really good at delivering the football and being accurate and making great decisions with it and making sure that it goes where it's supposed to go. And I felt like he did that. He came back and, was into it. And, there was certainly a bounce to him, and he's continued to do that. And, just early on in the evaluation process. But that's what he's done.
Out of Malik that's so far in the offseason that has shown improvement.
He seems a lot more confident in the huddle, I would say, especially when he's calling the plays. And, with his reads, he's a lot more decisive, and the ball, still jumps out of his hands. He still has a great arm. And I feel like he's gotten really, really accurate, too, with his throws.
So, there's the head coach, right, telling you what they asked Malik Willis to work on. And then there's the Titans tight end, Chigakonkwo, telling you what he has improved on noticeably to his teammates. And a lot of those same things check out, right? The confidence in the huddle goes into the bucket that Mike Vrabel described of having this starting quarterback presence to you and kind of being a bit more professional, put together, carrying yourself with that demeanor that it takes to be a QB1 in the National Football League. And, it sounds like Malik has made a lot of strides in that area.
Yeah, and it's huge, right? Because, again, the common trait that these three quarterbacks showed yesterday on the practice field, let alone one OTA practice on, late May, months away from the season and months away from important decisions to be made with the quarterbacks. But it does look like the Titans can rely on any of the three to go run practice the way it needs to be done. And I feel like a year ago, Malik was not ready to do that. And so if he's that much further ahead and that much more comfortable with just the simplicity or the the nature of running a practice so he can improve on decision making, he can catch up with the other aspects of playing the position in the game, then this could be a lot more interesting maybe than we all thought, where I think after the draft with Will Levis being the second round pick, you're thinking, well, that kind of tells you everything you need to know about Malik. The articles and some other thoughts and reports that kind of came out of, oh, the Titans are ready to move on from Malik. Maybe not so fast, right? Lee Corso says, not so fast, my friend. Malik is not going to just go away quietly or go away without effort. So I think it's a very good thing, a positive development that all three quarterbacks have that trait in common moving forward.
Yeah, something Mel Kiper said like last week as well that I wrote about on A to Z Sports.com was just like, hey, since when did the NFL get into the business of writing off a quarterback after one season when they're coming out of Liberty as a known project? Like, so there is some like, pump the brakes a little bit on trying to cast Malik Willis out to the Wolves, but also the Titans have a tough situation to make here, a tough decision to make, because I think they told you where Malik stands with them at the end of last season. I don't really think anybody can deny that. And then they doubled down on this thought that Malik was not their future guy when they traded up to draft Will Levis. So what you do with that guy moving forward becomes, complicated. Do you keep a third quarterback on the roster with hopes that Malik develops into a good future backup or a future starter, or do you move him now when there's good value to be had? This is a stat, Austin, that, I got yesterday from Nick Suss over at the Tennessean while him and I were talking on the sideline during OTAs. Since 2010, there have been 5 times, Malik Willis being number 5, that a team in the National Football League has drafted a quarterback in the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft and proceeded to draft another quarterback in the first 3 rounds in the ensuing season, in the ensuing offseason. The first one was Sean Mannion with the Los Angeles Rams, was drafted the year before Jared Goff. Mannion stuck around as a backup. Then you had Cody Kessler drafted by the Cleveland Browns. The next year they drafted, I believe it was Baker Mayfield. I don't remember if he was.
That sounds right.
Or there's Kaiser too, but it was Deshaun Kaiser and Cody Kessler. It happened with the Browns. Each of the next season, going into year 2, both of those guys were traded. And then so there's a precedent established here for these guys. And I'm having trouble remembering the 4th one off the top of my head. I have it right here. The 4th one would be Josh Rosen with the Arizona Cardinals.
Who lasted all but like a sneeze in Arizona because of Kyler Murray the year after that.
Yeah. And so now you've got 4 guys, Malik being the 5th, like I said, that were drafted in the first 3 rounds, had another quarterback drafted in the first 3 rounds the year after them. 3 of the previous 4 have been traded going into year 2. So, I mean, that tells you, I guess, a little bit of the precedent for how teams operate. When you draft a new guy, you're kind of saying, well, this young dude isn't the guy, but you also acknowledge the fact there's some value there that some team is going to take a flyer on and maybe be willing to give you some sort of draft pick compensation for in a trade. You're not like just releasing these dudes. And it's a really interesting situation.
75%, there's a 75% chance Malik Willis gets traded based on NFL history. Now, small sample size, but again, a unique situation, right? Like clearly this doesn't happen that often with a team going quarterback in the first 3 rounds on back-to-back years. And this does not include Washington taking RG3 in the first round and then also Kirk Cousins in the 4th round in the same draft. So again, that's the top 3 rounds there. But Sam, real quick, go ahead.
Well, real quick, Curtis said, so they're pumping him up to trade him. I don't want to make this into the Titans are doing anything to trade anybody. I'm simply presenting the history of this very unique quarterback situation the Titans are in, because we know that there is very little precedent to having a decent amount of draft capital invested into a quarterback and how quickly it's okay to move on from him after one season. I just think it's relevant as we start to analyze this room look at the possibility of keeping 3 quarterbacks on the roster and go over some of the possibilities for the Titans to look at, what has been done in the past, and is it realistic to think the Titans could go in another direction 1 year and really just 2 or 3 games into Malik Willis's Titans career?
Yeah, and Andre adds, Malik looked bad. Yes, he was also expected to look bad and was
Right.
in a god-awful
Which
scenario.
is
Yeah,
the other end of this, right?
yeah,
The other side of this is you knew he was a project. You knew he wasn't going to be a plug-and-play guy. It shouldn't have been a surprise to anybody that he was bad last season and didn't look good. But, what the Titans did at the end of the year and what they did in the draft suggests that they were a little bit disappointed and not happy with where Malik was standing at the end of last season. How much does that change given his offseason work?
yep.
Those are the questions we'll have answered over the next few months. But it's very, very fascinating.
Yeah, for sure. So I got a couple comments I want to get to. We're also going to play a video from practice of these 3 quarterbacks here in a second. But first, let me tell you guys all about our great friends at Farm Bureau Health Plans. They can help you out. Whenever you need health coverage, Farm Bureau Health Plans can be there for you. Maybe you have health coverage and you don't remember what your rate is per month. Well, go check out Farm Bureau Health Plans at fbhp.com/ATOZ, and they will help you find better coverage for a lower rate. And they have amazing customer service. With Farm Bureau Health Plans, they've been serving Tennesseans for over 75 years. So check them out. If you're in Tennessee, Farm Bureau Health Plans is a great opportunity for you to maximize your health plan with whatever your situation might be, whether it's family, growing family, maybe you're getting more mature and experienced in life and you need Farm Bureau Health Plans. Maybe you're young and entering adulthood and you're trying to navigate health coverage for the first time. Farm Bureau Health Plans is there for you. fbhp.com/ATOZ.
Today's show is powered by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports when you sign up. Place your first bet, and if it doesn't win, you can get up to $1,000 back in the form of bonus bets. Up to $1,000 in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win with the king of sportsbooks. That's why every game and every play means so much more with BetMGM. Visit BetMGM.com and the BetMGM app and use that bonus code. That's ATOZ Sports.
All right, so here we go, talking about Malik Willis and these quarterbacks of them having the same type of trait in yesterday's OTA practice of being comfortable running the quarterback logistics, as I've kind of coined it, from watching Levis, and then an improved Malik Willis. And Ryan Tannehill, we know, does this in his sleep. He's been doing it for a long time. And I think Jake brings up on Facebook a good comment about, Sam, you saying that Malik is one of only 5 NFL quarterbacks who has ever been drafted in the top 3 rounds and had a quarterback the next draft go to his team.
This is since 2010. I mean,
Since 2010. Okay.
So I mean, it is the recent history, but
okay.
I do think, I don't like looking at the 90s and how teams operated the roster in the 90s and think that it's still applicable. Like, this is the last 13 years of NFL history.
Sure. Fair enough. Fair enough. Jake says, I don't think those other teams had a quarterback getting $27 million in the final year of his contract either. And I do think that's an interesting situation, Jake, and you're spot on, is that the unknown of what, 2024 is for the Titans quarterback situation, of why it makes a lot of sense to have multiple options and maybe as many as 3 options to be your starter in 2024, depending on how this continues to play out. And Jay says it's the same O-line and receivers for all 3 guys. Yeah, we'll talk about some of those things later on in today's show and definitely tomorrow on a Thursday. All right, so let's play this video, Sam, from practice yesterday of 3 quarterbacks working back to back to back for us to really be able to look at them and judge them and compare them side by side by side. As I said, it was unfair to judge Will Levis in his rookie minicamp compared to Malik Willis in his rookie minicamp a year ago. It is absolutely fair to look at these guys now on the same practice field once Malik has caught up to where he needs to be. So here is these 3 quarterbacks from yesterday's practice. So Sam, the order, I don't know if it's something to pay attention to, but of Tannehill, Malik, Willis, last year's order was always Tannehill.
Man, go back. Tannehill,
Oh God,
Willis, Levis.
The Willis Levis thing is going to be the end of me. Like
The
that's
Malik Willis, Will Levis.
Oh God, it's driving me. It's not even June. It's driving me crazy. But last year's order was Tannehill, Woodside, Willis. So now it is Tannehill, Willis, Levis. So that's the order. So I don't think you can look too much into that. But what were your opinions after watching the three quarterbacks do the same rolling out to the left drill?
Yeah, so I mean, I think the order is really a seniority thing, like you said. I mean, and this isn't a surprise. Mike Vrabel said after the draft that Will Levis was going to come in as QB3 and that he was going to, play with the third team. He got pretty even reps with everybody else, but, when they're doing live periods, he's throwing to the undrafted free agents and kind of he's not working in with starters. I was a little frustrated by it at sometimes. I was kind of like, man, I'd like to see Will Levis run that rep, trying to see, how Traylon Burks is separating on that route compared to, some undrafted free agent that they just brought in.
Who was it? It was number 82. I got my roster
Treshaun Harrison.
Yeah. Treshaun Harrison, where you're like, oh, he's got
him down, man.
You've already
got him down, man. I'm trying to learn it. That is the hard part, right? It's all these new numbers. I'm looking at number 11 catching footballs, and I'm like, huh? It's good. And I'm like, oh, hey, that's Chris Moore over there, known Titans number 2 wide receiver, Chris Moore. But no, my reaction to the video was the same that it was to like all the drills. I think you're just trying to watch things like ball placement, things like footwork, seeing how Malik comes along and where Will Levis is. I mean, Ryan Tannehill, for all the grief that he gets from Titans fans, and, part of it rightfully so for like what he's done in the playoffs over the years, he is a very, very good looking practice quarterback. Like the way that he puts, it's funny, Austin, like this time last year, we talked about, I was at rookie minicamp. I'm watching Malik, I'm watching some of the guys they brought in just to, be camp arms, throw the football. I saw Ryan Tannehill for the first time. I go, oh, that's an NFL quarterback. The zip that he puts on the football, the ball placement, like even not just hitting his wide receivers, but where he hits his wide receivers. I was like, okay, that's a different type of accuracy. And I do think both other guys kind of looked up to speed in those areas. So seeing how they compared to Tannehill in the footwork, a lot of deep balls that they threw rotating. And so that was where my eyes went to, like, how do you look mechanically and how sound are you compared to the experienced veteran? All three of them have good speed and good athleticism. I think is one of the traits that they also all kind of can have in their bag. So these rollout drills are a good example of watching how they do it on the move, which is helpful.
Yeah, and I think I still look at Malik Willis and say rolling to his left is his weak spot. Like, he still does not look completely comfortable, but my goodness, does he look so much better rolling to his left than he did a year ago when his legs and his arms were kind of like octopus out of water, flailing all over the place. He looks better, more composed and controlled athletically this year, which is a big deal, I think, overall. So, Sam, let's ask this question and get the audience back in here. Would you be in or out on the Titans having all three quarterbacks on the 53-man roster? Zach and I asked about Malik Willis specifically yesterday, kind of along the same lines, but would you be in or out on the philosophy of keeping all three quarterbacks on the 53-man roster? Because that's a spot that could be used by somebody else. Would you be in or out on the philosophy of that, as Sam throws up there, knowing the rule, the bylaw that was approved this week, that an emergency quarterback cannot be counted as an active roster member, but still be able to be dressed out to go in case of emergency. And so that could help out the three quarterbacks. But the philosophy of in or out on three quarterbacks on the 53-man roster, we'll get to your comments, Sam. I'll send you to the comment section here in a second. But first, Krebs Kubota, they need to be your equipment dealer. Krebs Kubota is where you should turn for all of your equipment needs, because they have the best equipment in the industry with the Kubota franchise and that brand name, and the customer service and detail with the guys at Krebs Kubota. Matt and Jamie, awesome. I talked with them last couple weeks ago out at Murfreesboro location. They've got 3 locations, Columbia, Franklin, and Murfreesboro right there. You go see them online at KrebsKubota.com. But whatever application, whatever project you have on your home, your property, big or small, Krebs Kubota, they have the knowledge and the resources and the equipment to help you get it done the right way. And with the Kubota relationship that Krebs has, it's customer service and it is service on your machinery, on your parts that make it easier on you. So check them out online at KrebsKubota.com.
Today's show is powered by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports on the BetMGM app and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. Make every game and every play mean that much more. Check out the game and use the bonus code ATOZ Sports. And that first bet, even if it loses, you're all good. You're getting that money back up to $1,000 in the form of a bonus bet. That's the best way to do sports gambling. So get with our friends over at BetMGM and BetMGM.com. All
right, Sam, I'll send you the chat. Would you be in or out on the Titans keeping 3 quarterbacks on the 53-man roster? It's a philosophy thing, right? It's not necessarily about, who you think is the backup, who you think is the third, but it's about the philosophy of having all 3 on the roster, taking up a spot that could be used by another wide receiver, could be used in other all linemen, another DB where injuries occur. We just heard Mike Vrabel from yesterday's press conference after OTA practice saying you can only start 1, you can only play 1 quarterback. So if you have 3 on the roster, you have 2 guys that are not doing anything in the games on Sundays. So I'll send you the chat, in or out on the Titans potentially keeping all 3 quarterbacks on the 53-man roster.
Kenny Hill is in. Pistol Ramsey is in. Andre is in. Ashley is in. Let's see. We got definitely in from Davidson. Jimbo says, I'm not out. I don't know if he's in, but he's not out.
Jimbo is sitting squarely on the fence.
Yeah. Charlie is out. Billy Jones is out. Derek R is out. Jay is in. Noah is in. Deborah's in. Jonathan's in. Richie is in. Will is in. Jason Martinez says out. When somebody shows you who they are, believe them, referring to Malik Willis and what he showed last season. There might be some truth to that, but, Jason, there's also development. There's also when somebody shows you who they are, sometimes they also improve, and that's something to, keep in mind as well. JQ says in. Jeff says out. They need a wide receiver. Eric says out. Too many needs elsewhere. Devin says he's in purely based on the injury history, and Willis gives us the best chance to get Marvin Harrison Jr. So, but Devin, you're not playing Malik Willis if you're keeping 3 quarterbacks. You're keeping Ryan Tannehill. So I don't know if the Marvin Harrison Jr. sweepstakes matter at all in that one. In as an emergency QB, says Nick. Nick, keep in mind, still has to be on the 53 man.
Yeah,
so,
which is what he's saying, right?
In case of emergency, but you're still using a roster spot on it, which is why it's, a conversation. Justin says he's out because Willis hasn't earned it. Bork is in. Kenan is in. Justin is in. Troy and Tim both coming out. I think the vast majority, though, here, Austin, are in on this idea, but there are a few people that are out on this philosophy. Yeah. So where do you lie? What side of the aisle are you on? In or out on the overall philosophy?
Yeah.
Titans keep 3 quarterbacks on the roster.
Devin says it was a joke if the other 2 got hurt, Sam. So just to clear that up. Anyway, so it's hard to tell. There's no joke font. There's no sarcasm font that you guys can type in that we can understand. Maybe we can come up with a code of 2 asterisks before your comment means sarcasm. I don't know. Something to think about. I am in, Sam. I think it is time for the Titans to go all in on their investment in the position, because the quarterback position is the most important position in all of pro sports. And so therefore the Titans have to get it right. And if you were going to truly invest in finding out what the best situation is for that position, the most important position, I think you should keep all 3 on the roster so you can have your best chance of finding your best answer. I don't think it's worth the risk of cutting Malik Willis and then having him be claimed off waivers and going elsewhere.
You're not going to cut him, and that's part of like the details of the conversation that I had, and the stat that I brought up is that historically, you don't
that's
cut
fine.
this guy.
Okay, I don't think it's worth trading at this point because I don't necessarily think the trade value is worth moving on. I think the value of having Malik and Will Levis on the roster with Tannehill is, again, having as many shots as you can get at your quarterback future and having the options and being able to. I'd rather pick from 3 options than 2 options. I might like one of the 3 options more, but if I just have 2 options and you're stuck, right? And limited. Invest in the quarterback position and invest in the future of the franchise. And that's why I think I am in, and the Titans should have all 3 of these guys on the 53, because it's not about this year. And I saw Jeff say, why keep 3? They need another receiver or something like that. I think the Titans, if they're going to do it, go all in on it and make sure that you have 3 options and find the best out of those 3. And that could be extending Tannehill. Who knows?
Yeah. So I'm out on the overall philosophy.
Okay.
I don't really like the 3 quarterback approach as a general rule. I think there's too much value in the other positions and in the depth that is required to win in the National Football League. And, typically your 3rd quarterback is not somebody who is all that much better than, a guy you can find on a practice squad in whatever week, should you need him. Another reason I would be out would be the trade value of Malik Willis, which I feel like is still there entering this season and is not there if he spends another season on the bench and you've used the 2nd year of his rookie contract and, all of those details. I am in tentatively on this specific instance why it benefits the Titans. I think you hit on it, and it is that Ryan Tannehill is your starter, but your future at the position is at least still like up in the air. Will Levis, you think, is your future guy. The investment the Titans made into him would suggest that, but he hasn't earned anything yet. He hasn't guaranteed anything yet. And there was a reason that Malik was very highly thought of, so he still has a chance to prove it. But Austin, I'm only in on keeping 3 if Malik Willis earns that 3rd spot and shows a good amount of improvement. If we get to the preseason and he's not looking like a better, more established passer, and like he can't go through progressions and actually like he's made strides as a quarterback, I can't sit here and say, keep Malik just in case, because storing a guy on potential means absolutely nothing to me if I don't see the improvement that's needed. I think that's the time that you accept it's not going to happen. At this point, it still could. It's absolutely worth still checking out. And additionally, I'm not sure the back end of the roster and the depth on the Titans roster is good enough above replacement level to make a case that it's worth keeping over Malik's upside. But if he doesn't show anything, I think it's a completely different conversation. Like he definitely has to earn this still. This is not a given. We're keeping 3 QBs because the NFL made a new rule and you were a 3rd round pick. I don't want that. I want this to be, he has to prove it to me.
Yeah. I mean, I think that goes without being said for the, you want that to be earned, the opportunity for Malik to continue that. Totally fair, as Jay says there on Twitch too. So I think if there's one quarterback that I think the Titans should be listening to any phone call that comes in about trading him, and it's Ryan Tannehill. And we talked about that some last week with the Falcons situation. I could argue that just keep Malik around so you have multiple young, cheaper options following Tannehill too.
Well, and MB says kind of off that is like, did they not draft Malik on potential? They drafted Malik as a future, successor of Ryan Tannehill. That is why they drafted Malik Willis. My point is, if you don't see substantial development, a full season and a full training camp and a full OTAs, second OTAs into Malik Willis's career, like, you have to keep in mind, this guy's not a first round pick. This guy is not this like huge ceiling draft pick that you made. I mean, he's a third rounder. Third rounders don't make rosters all the time. And just because he plays quarterback, I don't think should make him an exception. You have another guy now that you believe in. So did they draft him on potential? Yes. I don't think you keep him on potential going into year 2 of a 4-year contract, knowing that you already have 2 very capable QBs on the roster.
Yeah.
So, and then I agree with Devin. Why are y'all not randomly hitting the like button?
Yeah.
I want to see, we're at 24 right now. I want to see it go up. So that I'll leave that there. And, you guys
24 on Facebook. I don't know. Not nearly enough on YouTube. I know that for damn sure. So hit that like button. Absolutely. So,
last thing on Malik real quick, because Kane came in with a super chat. He says, how will Malik have trade value, especially when most of the media and fan base have trashed him? Make it make sense. Well, first off, trade value is not determined by fans or media. It's not. I mean, it's determined by the league circles and evaluators and talent evaluators. And it goes off of my point earlier, Kane. I think trade value, I mean, Malik Willis isn't getting you a first-round pick or a second-round pick or a third-round pick. But, like, instead of cutting him, do you add a 6th-round pick to the Titans in a Malik Willis trade? And if you're another team, maybe you do want to take a chance on the upside or the athleticism because of your scheme fit or, any of the other variables that could make Malik Willis successful as a backup in your system. I don't think anybody trades for him to be a starter. Trade value is relative. I mean trade value in the sense that you can get something for Malik at this point. The longer you go without seeing him play, the more he becomes Trey Lance. The more he becomes like we knew there was upside, but we really haven't seen it yet. A year ago, a lot of teams would have given up a lot for Trey Lance. Now, 2 or 3 years into his NFL career without him being a guy ever or really taking significant snaps, you start to question that a bit more. So that's my point when I talk about trade value there.
Yeah. Last thing, Kane says it's not like the Titans need an extra spot for a wide receiver or anything. So again, we'll talk about wide receivers tomorrow on the show, Sam. So, all right, we were at practice yesterday and I'm going to ask you a question, Sam, and also the audience. Sam, I want an under the radar Titan that intrigued you yesterday. And then the audience, an under the radar Titan that intrigues you to see more of, because we're going to be out there at OTAs next week as well. So what's an under the radar Titans player that intrigues you that you want to see more of moving forward? Because I've got a guy, I'm sure Sam's got a guy that kind of stood out. You're like, oh, didn't expect that. Okay, interesting. So under the radar Titans that made a good first impression and intrigues us. But first, Sam, tell everybody about Wilson County Hyundai.
Wilson County Hyundai, you need to make them a part of your new car buying process in Lebanon or at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. They're the place to go for your new ride because you can get 0% APR for 48 months on 2023 Sonatas, Santa Fe's, and Tucson's. Painbone and his team at Wilson County Hyundai are happy to guide you through a financing process, whether that's assisting or buying and trading in your vehicle. They're helping you out with either one of those two. And forget those downtown Nashville prices. You can head out to Lebanon and see our friends at wilsoncountyhyundai.com.
Also with BetMGM, I said it earlier, it is Wednesday. What does that mean? You log on to your BetMGM app and you get a free bonus bet for no reason other than it's a Wednesday or also a Saturday. So you can do that every Wednesday and Saturday through June 7th. A free bonus bet for no reason just by logging in to your BetMGM app. So make that an opportunity today and maybe go win on the BetMGM dime. So visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older, Tennessee only, new existing customer offer. All promotions, subject to qualification, other requirements, awards issued, non-withdrawable bonus bets. Bonus bets expired 7 days from issuance. And for a problem game sport, call Tennessee Redline 800-889-9789. Sam, I'll let you start. One under the radar Titan that intrigued you yesterday that you're like, I want to see more of that guy?
Do you want me to go before the chat? That's the do you want me to see who chat's thinking
Yeah,
first?
you can go chat. That's fine. Go chat.
I'm just curious because I don't want to spoil anybody. I have
That's
a
fine.
guy that I think is sneaky. I don't want to tip my picks.
All right,
Nobody
go
can
chat.
steal my
Go
pick.
chat.
Mr. Jones says Malik. Eric Davis says Sean Murphy Bunting. Kyle Phillips from Ryan. Phillips from Jonathan. Kiaris Jackson from Georgia says Valentino. Anthony Kendall from Brian. He made a couple plays yesterday, I think, too, Austin, honestly. He had a couple PBUs. So there you go, Brian. Molden playing the third safety spot. Ryan Stonehouse says JQ's. Arden Key says Deshaun. Aaron Brewer, Molden, and Monty Rice from Brad. We have, let's see.
Monty Rice was not there yesterday.
He was not. The miracle pick of Dowell, Spears, mostly because the offense needs a jolt of speed. Caleb Murphy. This is a fascinating one. I didn't think about this one. This is a very interesting one. Read up about Caleb Murphy. Look up his name on A2ZSports.com. I've got an article out already about the UDFA that broke an NCAA record for defenders. Go check that out on the website. Molden and Arden are guys. Racy McMath. We've got Spears, one of the tight ends. A lot of Chig comments in here. Rashad Weaver. Here's my guy. It was one of the first comments. Sean Murphy Bunting, my underrated Titan that made a great impression on me yesterday. I am very, very interested in watching moving forward. Free agent signing, got a 1-year deal, kind of under the radar because he signed a little bit late. He looked really, really good yesterday. I will say he was great in front of the media as well last week, just a presence. We talked about his relationship with Azeez Al-Shire, another new free agent signing, and the camaraderie that's building on this defense and in between some of this free agent class. I was really, really impressed with him both as a person, as a speaker, and as a football player yesterday. Made a lot of plays all over everything. I think the secondary stood out despite not having Christian Fulton or Kevin Byard back there. I thought the secondary was very, very good and well contested just about every ball deep down the field. And Sean Murphy Bunting was kind of, at least to my eye, the leader of that group out there yesterday. He looked like the guy that was no KB, no Christian Fulton. He was kind of the captain of that defense. And, he's been very, very good in his career when he moves outside. He had 3 interceptions in 3 straight playoff games during Tampa Bay's run to the Super Bowl. And he played a majority of the snaps in the Super Bowl victory. He knows how to win. And I think it's intriguing that Roger McCreary is probably going to get forced inside now and can stay inside where he thrives consistently. So this is a very interesting addition to the Titans defense that I think could end up paying dividends. And I'm really going to make a point to see more of and make sure I keep an eye on. That number 0 looks so clean too. Nice. I'm just I'm watching 0 running around making plays on defense. It's fun. So SMB is my guy that intrigued me a lot for this season.
As much as we've talked about Will Levis looking the part as a quarterback, Sean Murphy Bunting looks corner. He just looks like a corner who
he's
knows
long. Everything about him's long and athletic, and
powerful, twitchy, fast, quick. He's got the 0, the visor, the everything. He just looks like how you want a corner to look. And so I agree. He did stand out to me yesterday. And Sam, I'm kind of following the same recipe for yours, but I know you're going to hate it. Chris Moore.
Yeah, I hate it.
I know you're going to hate it, but
you're right. I hate it
because you spent time yesterday with quarterbacks and running backs, right? I spent individual
defense.
And defense. I spent individual time with wide receivers. So Chris Moore is smooth. Chris Moore is a veteran. I think he's got the savviness to play the receiver position. I think Chris Moore is somebody that I look, because I was down on Chris Moore. I was like, oh God, that's all you get is Chris Moore in free agency from a veteran receiver. But again, the question, the first impression that I'm like, okay, That intrigues me. I want to see more. I want to see more of Chris Moore to see how much he can actually help this receiver position. I'm not saying Chris Moore is going to be a 600-yard receiver at all. I just say I want to see Chris Moore and how he can help this offense be more stable, because I think he can do that. Because I think, and we'll talk more receivers.
Can he do that more than Robert Woods? Like,
Robert Woods sucked last year. He fell down, he dropped passes, and
and he's still at a better numbers than Chris Moore. That's part of the problem.
I'm not trying to hype up Chris Moore. I'm just saying he looked better than I was expecting him to look yesterday.
Okay.
And so I'm intrigued to see more of number 11 about how he can be a glue piece in the receiver room. That's my point.
I mean, I do think that's fair that Chris Moore does get, not his fault this team neglects wide receiver, not his fault this team traded A.J. Brown, not his fault the team didn't draft the wide receiver in the draft, and that they've, just kind of made him the sole impact player or a sole addition at wide receiver, a key position of need. I do think he gets some unfair treatment because it's like, well, you needed a difference maker and you got Chris Moore. Well, like, he's not supposed to be the difference maker.
And by the way, Chris Moore had a way better season than Robert Woods did. He had more yards.
500 yards.
He had 548 yards on less catches and significantly less targets. The problem with Robert Woods is he only had 527 yards on 91 targets. Like, that's a massive problem, is because Robert Woods was not able to be there for his quarterbacks to make plays. And Chris Moore and look at the Texans situation as a whole. Chris Moore was not expected to be the go-to guy whatsoever with that Texans team a year ago.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's just, you asked who intrigues me. Chris Moore doesn't make me get out of bed in the morning. Like,
no,
there's nothing that excites me. I can get up and be like, hey, this Titans secondary might be scary. Let's take a look at Sean Murphy-Bunting, the Super Bowl champion, see what he brings to this group. Nothing excites me about, like, Chris Moore could be a not terrible third receiver for the Titans. But
it's who made a good first impression, an under the radar Titan that intrigued me. I want to see more of how this works out, because if Chris Moore can be the cheapest free agent addition that you could have possibly looked at, and he gets you 500, 600 yards, and Burks takes a step like we're talking about and needing, and Chig and Phillips, and then you fill in, like, now you're completing a pass catching unit.
Look out for Tajay Spears as a pass catcher too. I mean, he was very, very active in this. Jacob Ray wants to know how Jacob Copeland is looking. I didn't really have a chance to look at receivers. We kind of divided the labor a little bit. I didn't check out the core, but we are going to have a lot more in-depth stuff. I feel like these first couple practices, right, you're hitting on the big storylines. We all want to see the quarterback. We all want to see, how certain guys are moving and running. And then as we get deeper into mini camp and training camp, obviously, guys like Jacob Copeland, some of these other Caleb Murphys, these UDFAs will start to be people that we make a focal point of what we see. Like, there's only so many times you can watch Ryan Tannehill do a hip drill, or watch Traylon Burks come out of the chute before you have to direct your attention elsewhere.
Yep.
A super chat, Andre, kind of coming at you for your Chris Moore pick, says, a guy who couldn't make the second worst wide receiver room, huh? Talking about,
what do you mean he couldn't make this?
The Texans. Yeah, I mean, he made the Texans. He was on the Texans, so I don't know. It was
their second leading receiver with better stats than Robert Woods was, because the Texans also had Brandon Cooks.
Maybe he's talking about Woods. Maybe because Woods got cut from the Titans. That could be. I don't know who he's referring to.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I would rather play Chris Moore, pay Chris Moore whatever he's being paid than pay Robert Woods whatever he was being paid, right, for the same stuff.
Yeah, Jay makes a comment about Chig and Wiley as tight ends.
Future topic.
Topic. Yeah, Jimbo says, Wiley, how does he look? That is a future topic, because Wiley looked good, from everything that I saw, but that's something that we want to get much more in depth on at a later time, because I do think that will be a big proponent of the Titans offense this year.
Yep. All right. Time for shade to wrap up this Wednesday. Let's get it going with throwing shade. Throw your shade this week. But first, the Bone and Joint Institute, they can help you out whenever injuries happen in life. It's always an inconvenience, but make sure you know where to go when that injury occurs. The Bone and Joint Institute, they have all the experts there in Franklin, also with clinics across Williamson County, and continuing to grow so they can take care of you, whether it's just some extra rehab, maybe it's some other ways and methods to help that injury, or maybe you need a lot bigger of a fix than you want. But the Bone and Joint Institute, they make it easy on you, all in one location, and a very easy website to get started, boneandjointtn.org.
Today's show is powered by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports on the BetMGM app and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. That's why they're the king of sports books. It's why every game and every play mean more with BetMGM, because limited risk is the best type of risk, especially when you're talking about sports gambling. So use that bonus code ATOZ Sports, up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win with the king of sports books. Let's see what we got here. Here we go. There we go. Visit betmgm.com. Terms and conditions, 21 years of age or older to wager. Tennessee only. New customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. First online real money wager only. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets. Bonus bets expire 7 days from issuance. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789.
Shade here on this Wednesday, so make sure you get your shade in the chat because Eric just says shade on Sam just because I feel like it.
It's fair.
I mean, I guess. Trevor says shade on GK for not showing up today. So more shade. Sam, do you have any shade you want to throw?
I mean, you can throw shade on me for not having my BetMGM my what is this?
Your disclosure ready?
My disclosure ready to go. Threw me off here. Preparation is key here, guys. What am I doing on a Wednesday? I'm off my game.
That's okay.
Any shade I want to throw, I'll let it simmer a little bit. I'll think about it here. Nothing really jumped out to me this week as being really, really angered me. I mean, all the typical stuff. I got very mad at sports I have one. I just thought of one. Shade on my softball team. My softball team. One, because we lose a decent amount of games. We're not we don't get crushed, but we just find ways to choke games and lose a lot of the time. Very frustrating. But number two, I cannot get my softball team to show up on time for game. Today's Wednesday. It's game day. I cannot get this team to show up on time for the life of me. I send messages days before. All right, guys, we play at 7:00 on Wednesday. Here's the field. Here's the address. Make sure you account for traffic. I've got the equipment. Everybody try and get there just 15 minutes ahead of time. We can get a quick stretch in. I got guys call me, hey, game starts at 7. I'll be there at 7:20. Sorry. I'm like, what? So I have to tell the ump, hey, man, we're going to need a grace period because my guys can't show up on time to anything. So shade on my softball team. I've got half a mind to start making some trades. So
brutal. Let's see, more shade. Robert says shade on Ben for cross-checking Mark Stone to the head last night. I don't know what that. I'm guessing it's a hockey playoff reference. Nika says, folks better be on time. That's it. That's her pet peeve. Hey, I saw Nika Saturday at the Buck Greg Cosell event there. Let's see. And then look, here's ironically, Kane says shade on A to Z. How you guys going to say live at 8 a.m., but always late? Well, there's a couple things, right? There's a lot of preparation that goes into it, but also if we went live at 8 a.m., you guys wouldn't be ready either.
That's true, but I'm not gonna shame the victims here. I think Kane makes a good point. we gotta be a little more on top of this.
Yeah,
I mean, it is more of a we shoot for like 8:10 now because
8:10 at the absolute latest.
We like
8:05 is the goal because, and here again, Sam and I talked about it this morning. It was like 8:05 and you guys weren't ready yet. Like we can see when the YouTube chat is ready for the most part. And so again, like if we went live at 8:02, it would be such a slow start. But
we like to open the waiting room at like 8.
Yep.
You know, and that's when that goes live. And then, you know, once things start to fill up, everything gets situated. We try and go 8:10. There are days that we've got, you know, something happens and there's chaos and then we're not ready and it's 8:15. And then, hey, that's a tough one.
Sometimes, like today, my computer restarted, which is annoying as hell. Like after I've been working on it for an hour and a half, it just said, "Oh, at 7:45, I'm going to restart on you." How about that, buddy?
You had that, great. You had that one day that like the lights wouldn't work or something like that?
My light went off. So again, there's a lot of silly things to go along with it. All right, so my shade is on me for massive rookie mistake to go out to a Titans practice in late May with no sunscreen. What an idiot. I am fried. I am a lobster. I am sensitive to the touch. I'm going to have my face probably start peeling in the next 3 days. And so all you guys are going to watch this sunburn go through it. And here's another thing too, is I haven't shaved it.
You're that burned.
I am, look at that.
Well, I got a little sun kissed here, but like
my neck is toasted and my forehead is fried. And so I went out, like, I'm glad I wore long sleeves yesterday so my arms didn't get fried. My hands are kind of pink, but my neck and my face are just roasted. And so what an idiot. Like I know better than this.
I didn't think it was that bad, which is the scary part, that like we all kind of got like touched up a little bit and it was nothing compared to the like the training camp type of sun. Like, I mean, that August sun is different. I
didn't expect
like it. I could throw shade at just like the sun and Tennessee in general, because like I had like, when I tell you I had the worst farmer's tan like of all time last summer because of standing outside in a polo for training camp every day. And at St. Thomas Sports Park, there is not shade in sight and you are just standing out there to get cooked. And I mean, tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
Hey,
yep. Robert, you're right. I needed shade on a Tuesday, but didn't get it. So Kane says change it to 8-ish. So
yeah, live at 8-ish. Anything else here? I did mark Denise's down. She said shade on LeBum, talking about LeBron James getting swept. I'm in for that. Let's go. Let's get the LeBron slander going. You know, LeBron James has caused me too much pain in my life. I can't support him anymore. We have to, not that I ever did, but.
All right, Sam, that'll wrap it up. Buck Rising will be live tonight at 8 p.m.-ish as well. So make sure you like the show. Give us that thumbs up. We'd appreciate that as always. Subscribe to the channel because we're going to have a lot of content on YouTube and on Facebook, but really YouTube for all of our practice videos that have yet to be uploaded as we trickle those things out throughout the rest of today as well. So make sure you like the show before you go. We appreciate it as always, and we'll talk to you guys on a Thursday morning. Thanks.